The Streets of San Francisco from 1972 has always been remembered as a police series grounded in realism, but when viewed through the symbolic lens of Hot Dog, the show quietly transforms into a meditation on urban proximity, casual cruelty, and the invisible rituals that allow violence to coexist with everyday life. Because beneath the procedural surface lies a city constantly negotiating its own moral temperature, and the hot dog becomes more than food. It becomes the most honest metaphor for San Francisco itself, ordinary, accessible, comforting, and dangerously indifferent, appearing in scenes not as a focal prop but as environmental texture, something characters eat, sell, or walk past without thought, while the audience slowly realizes that the show's crimes are born precisely in those unexamined moments. And when we watch Inspector Mike Stone move through the city, we see a man not chasing evil masterminds, but navigating a landscape where irritation, impatience, and entitlement are allowed to ferment, and each scene reinforces this quietly, from crowded sidewalks where strangers brush shoulders without acknowledgement, to street vendors who hear everything and say nothing, to witnesses who saw enough to know something happened, but not enough to feel responsible. And the brilliance of the series lies in how it never sensationalizes these interactions, instead letting them accumulate until violence feels inevitable rather than shocking. And this is where Hot Dog is a title reframes the entire viewing experience, because a hot dog is consumed standing up, eaten quickly, rarely remembered, just as the city consumes conflict without digestion. And one of the most striking aspects of the show is how often Stone stands still while the city moves around him, observing rather than dominating the frame, allowing us to feel the pressure of constant proximity, the sense that people are too close physically, yet impossibly distant emotionally. And in this environment, crime does not erupt, it leaks, slipping through cracks created by routine, and even the dialogue supports this reading, filled with interruptions, half-sentences, and pragmatic exchanges that avoid emotional engagement, making violence feel less like a rupture and more like a punctuation mark. And as a viewer, especially one revisiting the series decades later, there is a haunting familiarity to these dynamics, because modern urban life has only intensified this compression, and the show's refusal to offer comforting resolutions becomes one of its greatest strengths, as arrests feel administrative rather than triumphant, and justice feels negotiated rather than earned. And in my own experience watching the series late at night, I found myself thinking less about who committed the crime and more about how many people had the chance to prevent it and did not, which is perhaps the most unsettling legacy of the Streets of San Francisco, that it implicates not just its characters, but its audience, asking us to recognize how often we too choose convenience over intervention, silence over friction, and the safety of anonymity over the discomfort of responsibility, making Hot Dog an unexpectedly profound lens through which to understand a show that knew the most dangerous things in a city are the ones nobody thinks twice about.